Feel most welcome. My name is Jeffrey Kerosi and this is Kerosi TV. Today we are going to discuss about Economic Survey 2017. This is a report which is produced every year by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, and it is very important, and in their own words they say that the economic survey is the most comprehensive picture of the economy in 2016. So this is a very important report that we are going to discuss today. The report is published by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, as I said, and it is freely available online as a PDF and can be downloaded. In summary, the global economy expanded by 2.6% in 2016. This means that the economy was doing well if it was expanding instead of shrinking. The global unemployment rate stood at 5.7% in 2016 as compared to 5.8% in 2015. So this is a reduction in the unemployment rate by 0.1%. Locally in Kenya, the economy was as follows. The gross domestic product expanded by 5.8% in 2016. When we say that the gross domestic product expanded, what we mean is that the country produced more and traded more out there, hence more money was generated from all activities across the country and also from exports. The persistent drought was the biggest challenge on electricity supply and agricultural production. So when there is drought, there is less rainfall, hence there is no water for electricity production, there is no water for agricultural production. Agriculture comes to a standstill, crops dry, animals die out of drought. So production goes down suddenly. Inflation stood at 6.3% in 2016 here in Kenya. And when we compare it to 2015, which stood at 6.6%, this was a reduction in inflation from 6.6% to 6.3%. Inflation generally is a general increase in prices. This is a situation where you find that your purchasing power is going down because the amount of money, the amount of goods that you used to purchase with a 1,000 shillings, for example, in the year 2000, is consistently reducing. Some people argue that is it that Kenyans have become stronger, such that even a baby can carry goods worthy 1,000 shillings. But 15 to 20 years ago, it was not possible for a single person to carry a shopping worthy 1,000 shillings. It was a lot, but now it is less. Even a baby, a young boy or a young girl can go to the shop and come back with goods worthy 1,000 shillings. 1,000 was a lot. When we were young and growing, we could be given 5 shillings to go during sports day and purchase food stuff. With the 5 shillings, we could purchase sugarcane, we could purchase several goodies, we could purchase sweets, we could purchase biscuits, and several other things on that budget of 5 shillings. But today, 5 shillings is nearly becoming useless. Nearly becoming useless. So, inflation is the general increase of prices. Prices have increased since prices have generally been increasing. A cloth which was used to be sold, or a pair of shoes which used to be sold at 200 shillings now can be put at 2,000 shillings. What has increased is the prices, and that is inflation. We used to buy bread. When I went to high school, bread was retailing at 15 shillings. Now a loaf of bread is 50 shillings. What has happened is the prices have increased, but it is the same loaf of bread. And even to make matters worse, the weight or the number of grams of bread has actually reduced from 500 grams to 400 grams. So it is worse. Prices have gone up, and the quantity of the product that we are buying has gone down, which is so bad. The Kenyan shilling has strengthened against the sterling pound, the South African rand, the Ugandan shilling, Tanzanian shilling, and Rwandan franc. So locally, regionally, we are doing well in terms of the stability of the Kenyan shilling, but internationally, the Kenyan shilling has weakened against the US dollar, the euro, and the yen, the Japanese yen in 2016. So we were doing very well locally here in the Eastern Africa. In the East Africa bloc, or EAC, Kenyan shilling was very strong, was very stable against the local currencies. But when it goes to the international arena, the Kenyan shilling was performing poorly. So ni kama jogo wa shambani hawezi wika mjini. Kenyan shilling doing well locally here at the EAC, East African Community, but once it goes out there, it can't perform well against the US dollar, against the euro, against the yen. So 2016 was a bad year for Kenyan shillings against the international currencies. Interest rates were fixed at 4% above the commercial central bank rate. So 2016 is the year when we saw the Jubilee or Uhuru Kenyatta's regime set they fixed the interest rates at 4% above the central bank rate. Basically what this means is that once the central bank has set the rate at a certain point, for example 12% or 10%, the commercial banks are only allowed to increase it by 4%. Previously there was no such ceiling or there was no fixed percentage, but now it has been fixed at 4% above the central bank rate. So it fluctuates depending on the central bank rate. So if the central bank rate is 5, then the commercial banks will charge 5 plus 4%, which is 9% in interest rates at the commercial banks. This has seen interest rates for loans from commercial banks reduced drastically. Further analysis of the social sector, we look at the social sector. What was the year like in 2016? In 2016, 3.2 million pupils attended primary schools. Primary schools had registered 10.3 million pupils, which was an increase by 2%. Secondary schools had registered 2.7 million students, which was a 6.3% increase. Universities had recorded 564,500 students, which was a 10.5% increase. When we say a 10.5% increase, what we mean, for example, at our universities, if there were, in 2016, there were 564,500 students, it means the year before, which was 2015, they were less by 10.5%. So more and more students registered with the universities in 2016. The same case with secondary schools and primary schools. There are millions. In 2016, there were 10.3 million. I guess if this trend is going upwards, in 2017, there are more than 10.3 million pupils in primary schools. I guess the same trend continues. In 2017, there are more than 2.7 million students in high schools. If the same trend is going up, then in the primary schools, that is the ECDs, there is more than 3.2 million pupils. Looking at the NHIF is National Hospital Insurance Fund. Looking at the membership grew by 16.5% to 6.1 million in the financial year 2015-2016. So if the campaign to continue recruiting more members for National Hospital Insurance Fund is ongoing, then we hope there are more than 6.1 million members who benefit from this insurance. NHIF is very important. It helps provide medical services or pay for part of the medical fees that patients are charged at our hospitals. Then we look at the public finance. Under public finance in Kenya, in the year 2015-2016, the financial year, Kenya spent budgeted for 2 trillion. This amount grew to 2.49 trillion in 2016-2017. So the trend is ever growing. And this means we are ever collecting more taxes from the taxpayers. The country is also borrowing a lot from other countries such as China, United States, and other countries. We are also receiving more grants from government partners. So in public finance, the trend has been going up. In international trade, in 2015, the exports stood at 581 billion. In 2016, it went down to 578.1 billion. So in terms of exports, we are doing poorly. The total amount generated from exports reduced from 581 billion to 578.1 billion. So there is a reduction of nearly 4 billion reduction in exports. In terms of imports, we imported goods worthy approximately 1.6 trillion, and imported, that is in 2015, 1.6 trillion. In 2016, we imported 1.4 trillion, goods worth 1.4 trillion. So we are importing more than we are exporting. We are importing nearly three times what we export. We are importing 3 times what we export. 3 times. We import more than we export. So the balance of payments is wide. There is a wide gap there. The leading export earners were tea and horticulture. Leading export earners were tea and horticulture. So in Kenya, we are doing plenty of tea exports, plenty of horticulture exports. We are not exporting already assembled motor vehicles. We are not exporting machinery. We are not exporting motorcycles. We are not exporting cameras. We are not exporting bicycles. We are not exporting all types of machinery, but we are importing them. So importing means to buy from other countries and to bring to Kenya. Export means to sell to other countries. So we export. We sell more. We sell less than we import. Africa is still the leading export destination. Africa was the leading export destination in 2016. At 40.6% of all our exports went to African countries. EAC covers over a half of the total exports in Africa. East African Community. So we export a half of all exports we make goes to East African countries. That is Kenya. It goes to Rwanda, Tanzania, Uganda, Southern Sudan, Burundi, and Uganda. Uganda, Tanzania, Burundi, Rwanda, Southern Sudan. So all our exports half of our exports are to East Africa countries. Europe accounts only for 24.5%, and most of those exports are to the European Union countries. So Africa takes care of 40.6%, the Europe takes care of 24.5%, and most of the exports are to European Union countries. That is like Germany, France, United Kingdom, but United Kingdom, they had a referendum, and through what they call Brexit, they moved out of the European Union. Imports. Asia is the largest, takes the lion's share of imports. This means that we imported 66.8% of all total imports in 2016 from Asia. And I guess this is more from China. China is the largest import destination for Kenya. Looking at milk, the volume of marketed milk in 2015 was 615.9 million liters, which was worth 21.2 billion. In 2016, we traded or marketed 650.3 million liters of milk, which was worth 23 billion. So the milk trade in Kenya in 2016 was worth 23 billion. In 2015, the milk trade or marketing was worth 21.2 billion. So it is a multi-billion shilling business. Milk production is a multi-billion shilling business. Actually, we should even buy more cows, purchase more high-grade cows, more high-grade goats for milk production, so that we generate more. We pass this to 23 billion mark. This 23 billion mark, we want to pass it. We want to even get to 30 billion. If more people buy cows, more people buy goats which can be milked, and then we export more milk, we sell more milk locally to our neighbors, to the business people at the trading centers, the people staying in these towns. We sell them more milk. We export more milk to Middle East, to China, to India. Oh, India. No, not India. In India, they don't consume any products from cows. A cow is a sacred animal. A cow is a sacred animal. It is holy. It's like a god to them. They don't slaughter animals in India. So we will not export milk to India. We will export it to probably Pakistan, Netherlands, probably to South Africa if they need milk. Yes. Fresh horticulture. Let us look at fresh horticulture exports, which increased by 12.3%. In 2015, we exported horticulture worth 90.4 billion, and then in 2016 we exported horticulture worth 101.5 billion. This was an increase by 12%.